Good evening, everyone. It's Dawn Duvall. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I've been doing this craziness for about 12 years. And I am coming to you pre-recorded, if you will. I am out of town, but I wanted to do something while I was gone. So we're going to wait just a minute or so, and then we'll get started so that those that are a little bit late can get in here and enjoy the fun. So we'll give us just a minute and then we'll go ahead and get started. I am going to be showing you one of our previous paper pumpkin kits and what we can do to make alternative cards. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do is show you, if you're not familiar with Paper Pumpkin is a monthly subscription kit that you can sign up for, and you can do it on a monthly basis. You can purchase 3-month, 6-month, or 12-month terms, and then you do get a discount when you do a 6 or a 12-month. The kit is it's mailed to you every month. It's a different kit. You don't know what you're going to get. Well, we do get a little sneak peek, but you don't. We do get a little sneak peek. Let me just put it that way. If for some reason that you don't want a particular month, you can put it on hold and then restart it the following month. Excuse me. And this is an all-inclusive kit. This is something that comes with all of the cardstock. You'll get a stamp set. You'll get an ink spot. You'll get everything that's needed, adhesive, twine, everything that's needed to create these cards. So I wanted to show you this Exploring in Color kit. This is the one that came out in May of 23. And this particular kit is making 3 different designs and 3 of each. So this kit will make 9 cards. So when you receive your kit, it's going to come in a beautiful box, and it's all wrapped in tissue paper inside the contents. And then you are going to get a stamp set. Hang on a minute, let me get the ink spot because I usually use my larger ones. Okay, so for this one, you're going to get this is all about the adventure, and as you can see, it's outdoorsy. So you're going to get a stamp set with 3, 6, 7 stamps that you can use over and over again. You'll get a different colored ink spot, so you'll have your ink. This is copper clay. This is the instructions. Let me move this out of the way. This is the instructions, and what it does is it shows you for each card. So here's the first card with the bison, and it shows you how to ink up your stamp, and in this case it comes with banners. It comes with your thread, and if you see right here, there's a ruler right alongside your instructions. So it tells you to cut 12 inches of the twine, which I have right here. I've already started using it, but here's your twine. And then it also gives you glue dots, and it's a small package of glue dots that's like this, so you can see that. All right, and then you will get dimensionals, which I think I've used up the dimensionals for this pack, but you'll get I'm not sure how many you get, but you get enough to do all the cards. And so the directions shows you these little dots are your glue dots, and then these here that are open are considered your dimensionals. So if you see that, and then it shows you how the cards are to be put together. So you can see it's got some banners that are popped out, and it's telling you to wrap that twine around the front of it, and then you'll attach your birthday card. It does have some stickers that comes with the kit as well. And then it goes through for each different card and shows you how to create those cards. And then here's an overview of the 3 cards that it will make. And these are the supplies that you get. You'll get some stickers, you'll get your twine, you get your labels for the sentiments, some other pieces for decorative. You also get a block the first time that you order Paper Pumpkin, and then going forward, then you won't get another block because that block does everything, okay? And then on the back, it also talks about if there's additional components that might go with this kit. And Stampin' Up! Has started providing additional envelopes and card bases that you can buy for an additional cost so that you can create more cards using your supplies and the supplies from this kit as well. So this tells you what this kit contains. It did come with these stickers here, and then this is everything that comes in the box. And it tells you the coordinating colors, and then you can go to the site if you want to look up some other, if you have questions, you want to see how they put it together, you can watch that quick video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 3 kits, the 3 sets of cards that come, and they come with coordinating envelopes. So this is how the kit is, this is how they've designed the kit to be made. And so it's got the bison. Now look at the card. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It's a big scene. So what we'll do, after I show you these 3 cards, I'm going to show you how we're going to cut up a card, and we're going to make 2 alternative cards, and then I'll show you some other cards that I've made as well. Okay? So this is, and this paper is it's a little flimsier than our cardstock, but it's still fine to send it out. But if you want, and when we do our alternative ones, then obviously we're going to be attaching those to our cardstock. Okay, so here's how it's made, and again, it's very simple. We're going to we're going to make a bow and wrap it around underneath this little banner here. We're going to stamp our birthday, add the binoculars, and then you can stamp or write whatever you want inside your card. And then here is the envelope that matches. Now, isn't that clever? You've got the bison with the water, so it's the same scene. Now, if you're very crafty and creative, you can always take this and cut this envelope apart. You've got this blue flap here that you could use for something, and then you could use this as a base to create some type of card on your own cardstock. Okay, all right, so that's one of the cards. You'll get 3 the materials to make 3 of each card. All right, and then the second card is the one here with the canoe, and you can see it's got mountains. So the coordinating envelopes are Moody Mauve, and these are all the end colors. It's Moody Mauve, and then this is the design for this particular card. So see how they've done that, and you get the mountains and everything throughout. So when you close the card, there's your scene, and then again it tells you what to do. You'll take all of the information that contents in the box, and you'll just stamp it, put it together, and that's all you have to do. And the same thing, if you're creative, you can cut this apart, use it whatever you want, and create some additional cards if you want to be a little creative or more creative. And then the last set of 3 cards is this one, and again you can see how it coordinates down here. And this one has the copper clay on the back of the envelope. And this is how this one looks like, this card itself. And then this one, we've used one of the pop-out. This is included in the kit. Your sentiment, the little tag that goes underneath, and then some of our twine. So that's how the 3 cards are supposed to be made, okay? But I'm going to, now that you've seen that, because I've made those, now we're going to do some alternative cards. So the first one I'm going to do is going to start out and be more like a beginner card, okay? So we're going to take, and we're going to use a base of crumb cake. Now what I did was I cut, and let me show you the card. So what I did is I cut, this was from the bison, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is one from the bison. So I cut that off, and I cut this at, I think it's 2.5. I cut it at 2 inches. And this is cut by, about 4.5. And then this is the top. So when you cut the, first of all, what I did was I took the card base. Let me pull it back out so you can see. Hang on a minute. All right, so I took, this is the bison. So I took the card base and I cut it at 4.25. So I cut this in half, and then I cut this in half. So 2.5 would make our 4.25, 2 1/8, I'm sorry. So then I'd get 2 cards here, and then you could either use this as a front to a card, or you can cut this in half and make something else. So we're going to cut this off in half. We're going to use the back side, and we're going to create 2 cards with this piece right here, okay? And then you can always take this piece and create another card with it as the front of that card, okay? All right, so now with that being said, so I've taken, when I cut this card in half, I've cut 1 inch off the top to bring my size down to what I needed, and then that inch I'm going to cut in half. So we'll cut that at a 1/2 inch. So that's where I came up with this little strip here is what is from the top of the card. So it's the sky, and I placed it underneath and glued it to this piece here. And then we're going to stamp, and we're going to fussy cut these out. And we're going to stamp this as well. This is one of the banners. We just cut it in half, so we get two. I'm sorry, I got my camera down a little bit low. I apologize. We're going to cut that in half as well, so you'll see the banner. And where the point is, where it comes to a point to the V, just put it in your paper trimmer and line that V up in the center, and then just cut straight up, okay? We wrapped we made a bow, and then we've attached that with a glue dot, and then we've popped this stuff up on dimensional. So that's what we're going to make for our first card, and that's using the back of this, cut in half, and we're going to get 2 cards out of it, plus this one, which would be 3, all right? So we're going to use, now, one of the other things you can do, now again, this is really more like for a beginner person, but this may look a little plain, so you could emboss it if you wanted. You could stamp the background with something that you wanted, but for now, we're just going to do it as if somebody is just learning, and so we want to show them how easy it is that you can take the materials in this kit and create different cards. And it's fun because it gives you the ability to kind of use your creativity, right? All right, so there's my card base. It's our standard 8.5 by 5.5. And of course, do you think I got that? Hang on, I got to get it folded correctly. It was off just a hair. So it's always good to use your bone folder and do it on both sides. That helps the card to lay flat. All right, so there's our card base. Now here's 1/2 of my bison that I cut in half, right? So this is 2 1/8. If I'm not mistaken. Yep, 2 1/8. So we're gonna, it's gonna be popped up on dimensionals. So this is how it's gonna work. We're gonna do this. This is gonna be glued. We're gonna glue this to the back of this piece. Then here's my Moody Mauve. That's gonna be the little piece that we're gonna put here. And then we'll stamp our sentiment. All right, so the first thing we need to do though is we've got to stamp our shoes, mug, and our compass. And we're going to do those in the 3 colors, 3 of our end colors, okay? So give me just a minute. Let me put my stuff here. All right, so the tennis shoe I did in Pebble, what is it called? Pebble Path. I had to stop and think about it for a minute. All right, so we're just going to ink this up, and I'm going to stamp my shoe, and then we're going to fussy cut. Whoops, I didn't get, look, now I didn't get him all the way, did I? I didn't get enough ink on him, so I'm going to flip this over. And we'll stamp him right here. Make sure I get it good. And I'm on a cushion pad too. So keep in mind, if you're using the photopolymer, make sure you have a cushion or get one of our stamp and piercing mats, and that will help you with getting a good coverage. All right, so we're going to put that one aside. And now we're going to use our Moody Mauve, and that's going to be for our coffee cup. So we're going to ink this up as well. And I'm just going to place this right here. And I usually push down a little bit harder than I normally do because I want to make sure I get a good coverage. All right, and then we're going to come back and start stamp our compass in the boho blue. And we'll bring that in. We're going to use all our end colors. So we'll put him right here so we can go ahead and get that stamped. All right, and then last, we'll go ahead and do this as well while we're stamping, is we'll go ahead and bring in our copper clay, and then we are going to stamp our sentiment, cheers to another adventure. And I am going to stamp, actually I got room on the bottom of this, so I think I'll do it here. I'm going to stamp that right about here. And I like to let it sit for a couple of seconds just to make sure my ink transfers. Okay. All right, so let's close this up and let's move on with doing some fussy cutting. And I hope that you all enjoy this. I was trying to come up with something, and I started making this. I thought, well, shoot, I'll just record this, and then this will be our video for tonight. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is cut my sentiment. I'm going to cut this out. So I'm going to lay this down, and I'm just kind of eyeballing where I want it cut, and then I'm going to trim it down. And you can cut this however big or small you want it. No right or wrong way. It's your card, and we'll come in here just a little bit. I just kind of eyeball it. I don't, you know me. All right, so that's going to go there. All right, now, whoops, we need a card. Okay, let me get my stuff out of the way. We need that. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so now we're going to do some fussy cutting. So let's get moving here. It won't take long. So we're gonna cut around our shoe and mug, and then these are going to be popped up with dimensionals as well. And they do give you a good supply of dimensionals and glue dots. Now the glue dots are really tiny, so trying to pick them up, you definitely want to use either tweezers or take the pick tool with the putty end or something to that effect, because they are a little small. Now, as a crafter, who most of us have a supply room, right? Then just use your normal size. But this is really good for beginners. This is good if you have children or grandchildren that come over to visit. You can get these kits, and then y'all can do crafting time together, and then it kind of gives them something different to do. And you never know what each month is going to bring, so that's kind of the fun part. Some people don't like that because they want to know what they're getting. Well, it's like, signing up for a magazine. You don't know what kind of content it's going to be for the most part. I mean, you may want a health and fitness or a food one. It's going to be about food, but you don't know what. So that's the only thing. But they've now started giving us little incentives to see the item before it comes out. So that way, if for some reason you don't like it, like I had one customer probably about 7 years ago, she didn't like, all she wanted to do was cards. Well, some of these, we're trying to cater to everybody, right? Well, some people like to do little gifts, gift boxes, gift bags, or whatever, and she didn't like that, so she didn't want to continue participating, which is fine. But you've got to keep in mind that they're trying to appeal to the masses, right? So, and they have gotten, and y'all have heard me say this before, Stampin' Up! Has gotten so much better with their paper pumpkins. And I keep telling y'all I'm going to show you what one looked like before. If I thought about it, I would have pulled it out. But anyways, I'll do that at some point. I have one of the first ones, and oh my gosh, it was pitiful. But, they were trying, but they have come a long way. And it's awesome. I love it. It's great for traveling. If you're somebody that lives in a small, like if you may be living in a motorhome or an RV or something, or doing a lot of traveling, it's perfect for that, because it's a little box that you can store your stuff in, so you don't have to worry about having a lot of space, All right, let me pull this thing down because it's out of camera. All right, so we've got our stuff pre-cut. So again, now it's the easy part, right? So we're going to put this together. Let me get my craft mat out and get our stuff together. All right, so we're going to take, and I am going to put, I'm going to use my seal. Now this is going to go on the left side, so I'm just going to put my seal right here. It's going to be easier to have it stick. And then I am going to have this, now it's going to be a little shy on the on the length, which is okay. So just kind of get it set up however you want. And you can show as much or as little. I'm going to try to show more of that cloud in there as well. And it looks like it might be like maybe not even 1/4 of an inch, probably a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm just going to lay it right on the edge, because I want some of that cloud piece to show as well. All right, so there's that. Now I'm going to add my dimensionals. And we'll go ahead and get this popped up on our card. And then we can start putting it together. And this is really, really easy. I think the hardest part is trying to come up with the concept of what you want to build, right? How do you want to build it? What do you want to come up with? But it's awesome because, especially if they're going to design, now not all the cards come each month with that design throughout the whole card. So keep that in mind. But you've got the envelopes you can cut up too. You can cut those envelopes up and use those. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take this, and we're going to add that right about here. All right, so this would be like for a beginner person, right? So it's going to be very simple, very kind of plain Jane looking. All right, now let's put some dimensionals on the back of these guys, and then we're going to also tie some ribbon or some twine. So let's just put, I'm going to just put a couple of dimensionals on each of these. And then we'll put on the coffee mug, we'll put one here. And then we'll put some on. Now, before I do, let's see. Oh, we're going to do this. So let's put dimensionals on this as well. So we'll put 3 on here. Okay, so then that way everybody's ready to go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is I am going to lay this down here. Now this one's not angled. I just cut a piece off of one of the other cards or something that I was working on. So I'll just cut it at an angle. And I'm just going to have it kind of hanging over just a little bit. All right, so that's all we're going to do there. So let's go ahead and add some adhesive to this. All right, this guy better start working. Okay, hopefully that's enough it'll stick. Place this wherever you want. There's no right or wrong way. I'm just going to let a little bit hang over, and we're going to lay that right there. All right, now I'm going to take some of my twine. Now it tells me, I think it's this particular one says probably, what, 10, 12 inches. I'm just going to make a bow. But if y'all need to measure it to make a bow, that's fine. I'm just going to do the way I make bows. And then I'll cut it down because I want the bow to be kind of big because it's going to hang out from underneath. Not quite that big, obviously. Let me pull my tail back in. We'll get this tied up. And then I know I can go ahead and trim. I'll just cut that off. All right, so now I just want to get this so it's not twisty, which it may be the way I tied it, but that's okay. So we're just going to get it, and that's going to probably lay about like that. I'll probably pull this in just a little bit. Let's see if I can get him to straighten up. All right, and then we'll trim the tails down some too. Let's make it a little bit bigger because it's going to go underneath and show. So we want to make sure it's pretty. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to trim these down a little bit. This one's a little curly Q, and we'll do that. Okay. All right, so now we're going to add our, oh, let's see, what do I want to do? Let me put my sentiment on here because we want to place our other items around the sentiment. So I'm going to place this right towards the bottom of the Moody Mauve. And I'll move this up some. So I'm going to place it right about there. We'll try to get that even with the length of that. All right, and then wherever you want to place your guys, that's up to you. It doesn't matter. So we'll come in and we'll place our coffee mug right here. Or we could put him like that. Let's put it up a little bit higher. And then we'll come in and do our shoe, our tennis shoe. And we'll put him over here. And we'll kind of have him coming off a little bit. And then we'll put our compass in the middle. And again, you can arrange these however you want to arrange them. And we'll tuck him under, let's tuck him under this way. And get him under there. Oh, maybe we can't. All right, let's, how about if we just do it? Let me get him under the thing. All right, so we're going to put him about like that. We'll just have him sitting up, okay? All right, so there's that. So now all we need to do, and these are the little glue dots that they provide, okay? So I just take them with my paper snips, and I peel that little tiny backing off, and then I'm going to lay it right underneath here, and I'll probably, and I think that'll work. And then I'm just going to lay my ribbon, my bow, on top of that. It's going to hold it down, and then I'll get my little tails. I'm going to try to straighten this one out. Let me hold on to it. All right, so there is our card, and then of course you'll put something on the inside. All right, so there's our first card, which would be more designed for beginners. All right, so we're going to move that one up. Now let's bring in the next one. The next one would be a stepped up version for those of us that might be a little bit more experienced. And we're going to use the same contents. We're going to use the other side of that bison card, but we're going to add a piece of copper clay, and we're going to distress it, and I'll show you how to do that. And again, we're doing the crumb cake, and then we're going to heat emboss. We're going to heat emboss with clear, and I'm going to show you how to do this on your on this. I'm going to show you how to heat emboss this differently than the way we do that, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to use clear embossing powder, and of course we're going to use our embossing pal, our little friend here that keeps everything organized for us. So let's go ahead and we're going to fold our cardstock. Again, you're going to score it at 4 1/4. And we're going to go ahead and do that and give it a good crease with the bone folder. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do our copper clay. Let me get my piece out. We'll be stamping here in a minute. Now, to distress this, we're going to take our bone folder, and all you want to do is, well, I shouldn't say all, because if you haven't done this, I had to learn this one. You want to start just kind of breaking down, and hang on a second, I got to get a marker. Hold on. Let me get my marker here. Okay. You want to hold on and start bending the cardstock to break down those fibers. So we're just going to start curling it with our bone folder, okay? So you just go along one edge and turn it just so you get the strength of, let me get back in the camera, of doing this. So I'm going to go around, and it's going to get kind of crinkled, which is what we want. So I'm just going to go around the edges again on the opposite side. Sometimes I do it like this so I'm getting to it better. All right, and I'm just going to keep doing that, and then I'm going to turn it over and start doing it again. And it takes a little bit of time, but you can see how it's starting to crack. And so just keep bending it. And that's the way we're going to make it, give it a distressed look. And then sometimes I try to come back towards me because it's just easier for me to grab it and keep twisting. And you might have to do this a couple of times. Go around and then flip it over again. And then we should start to see the paper starting to separate, which we want it to do just a little bit at the top and the bottom, okay? So just keep moving your bone folder. Whoops, you don't want to tear it, which is what, look, I almost did, but that's all right. All right, so let's see if we've got some fibers broken down that we can get into almost. So you just, again, just keep doing it until you see where the paper is going to start separating. And then I'm going to try to peel it. So let's see if we've got one. All right, this one's starting to right here. So see, I'm going to just do a little bit of pulling it back because I'm going to roll it down some. All right, so we're going to do that. So we're going to keep doing that so we can get these to break down, and then we can get to them better. Okay, so it just takes a few minutes to do this. If you haven't done it before, I haven't really done it this way, so this is kind of interesting. All right, but I like the distressed look. It kind of makes it look like it's leather, doesn't it? All right, so there I can see it starting to peel. So I just want to get a little handle in there, and I just want to roll it down a little bit. Just kind of roll it down, and then it might pop up some, which is fine. So, and then we can get this one to do the same thing. You just need to break it down a little bit more. Okay. I know we get nice cardstock, and then we just want to sit here and do this to it, right? Let me take it back this way, and that might help. All right, let's see. There we go. All right, so that's starting to come apart. And we just want to kind of roll it down a little bit. I'll get my fingers on it. All right. So we'll just kind of roll it, however you got to roll it. You know, just enough to get it to where you're showing that it's distressed and it's kind of coming down. Okay, and then we want that on all four corners, and then you can see this one, excuse me, is starting to do the same thing. If I can get in there and get it with my fingernail. It's what happens when you have acrylic nails, because they're not thin. Well, I don't like them fat, but they're not thin. All right, so we'll get a piece of that, and hang on. All right, so we can pull that down just a little. So again, we're just kind of giving it that distressed look. And if you don't want to roll it, that's fine. You can just let it sit like that, okay? So that's what we've done, all right? So that's our distressed paper. Now, I'm going to put this on here, and I'm going to put it a little bit at an angle because we're just going to make it look like it's, you know, cattywampus. So we're going to get just a little bit. You know, it's distressed. And this piece is, I guess we should tell you what it's measured, huh? It is 3 inches by, it should be 5 1/4, okay? So we're just gonna put some glue on the back of this, and we're gonna go ahead and attach this to our card front. And hang on a second, let me try and get my glue out. I just sat down over here to start working to do the video, and I left my other glues on the other side. All right, so we'll get some adhesive on here. All right, whoops. And then we'll go ahead and place this down. And I'm going to just put it a little bit at an angle, not much. And we're going to bring it up. Okay, just a little crooked, not much. And then this guy can come down. He can kind of roll. And then that kind of makes it look like it's distressed. It needs help. Okay, so we have that. All right, now we're going to do the same thing with our other card, right? We're going to add this strip of the sun. Now there's our bison. So we're going to add the clouds. So let's go ahead and, let me move my stuff out of the way. Let's go ahead and we want it on this side right here. So I'm going to add some seal, 'cause for me it's just easier. And we'll add that again. It's going to just barely touch the top and the bottom, not much. So we're going to add that. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and attach our dimensionals on the back. So it's just like we did the other one. The only difference is we're going to add this to a piece of distressed cardstock. All right. And it just gives you a whole nother set of cards that you make and gives you more opportunity. So the more card bases that you cut up and create something different, you're going to get more cards out of this set rather than the 9 that you're supposed to. So you can probably get 14, 15 cards. It just depends on how many you want to create. That's going to be different than what the directions tell you to do. Okay. All right. So let me get those over there out of the way. All right. So we're going to go ahead and add this. And again, I'm going to turn this just a little bit as well. So we're going to make that a little crooked too. All right. And then we're going to add our strip of the, it's part of the kit. So we're going to take and add a little bit of adhesive to this. And then pop that back on here. And again, we're going to pop that over just a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit. I'm going to make it go that way a little bit more. And I'm going to kind of put this at an angle as well. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we've got to stamp, just like we did before, we need to stamp our shoes and sentiment and all of that, and we're going to do some heat embossing, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp, I'm going to put this right here, my embossing buddy, because this is where I'm going to do my sentiment. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to, I'm going to, before I add the Versamark to my sentiment, I'm going to do the other pieces. I'm losing my track of mind for a minute there, sorry. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stamp these, and then what I'm going to do that's a little bit different is I'm going to put Versamark all over these guys because they can sit there. We're just going to make them kind of glossy, make them shine. So the sentiment is going to have ink on it. So as soon as I ink that up, then I'm going to heat emboss. Those guys can wait till last. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp these in their colors, just like I did before. And I don't need to worry about the heat, whatever, because it's going to be fine. All right, so we've got that one. And excuse me, let me put this one over here. Then we're going to come in with our Moody Mauve. We're going to do our cup just like we did before. Okay. And then we're going to come in with our, what color? Oh, where's my pebble? Oh, here it is over here. Sorry. Come in with our pebble path for our shoe. Okay. Now, whoopsie, I didn't get his heel all the way done. Come on, Bubba. See, got it. All right. So we're going to stamp him right about there. I think that should give me enough room. Yeah, that should give me enough room to cut him out. Okay, so let me move these guys over here. All right, now we're going to take our Versamark, and this makes it easy because all we're going to do is we're going to just plop this down on here, and we're going to get it all sticky with the Versamark, and then we'll put our embossing powder on it as soon as we're ready to do our card, okay? So that's all sticky, and that's fine. We can leave it like that until we get ready to do our thing right here, right? So we're going to take our we're going to take our ink because we're not going to, we put Versamark there. I mean, the embossing buddy. But I'm going to take my ink, and let me get over here with got my powder pail. All right, so I'm going to do my sentiment in my copper clay. And we're going to stamp it on here. I got some ink there, so we're going to have to cut that off. We're going to stamp it right here. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and add, because what's going to happen is we want the ink to absorb before it dries, get this clear polish, clear stuff on it, okay? So we're going to go ahead and do that. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and do that first, and then I'm going to cut this off. We'll go ahead and heat emboss this one, and then I'll cut it, and then we'll do the other two. But actually, hang on a second. Let's just do it all at one time. So I'm going to put the gloss on these. Okay, so give me a second. We're going to get this all cleared up. Get it on the shoe, because our tennis shoe is not completely covered. So let me grab a thing here and kind of move it up on there. There we go. All right, there we go. All right, so we want to get off any excess powder, okay? Okay, so now we're ready to start heat embossing. Now, this is going to be a little loud. I'm going to turn it on so it can heat up. And then we'll go ahead and do our sentiment first. And then we'll come back. Hang on a minute. We'll come back and get the shoe and the other thing. All right, so I'm just going to hold it right here. And then we're going to start embossing it. Now, you can do it underneath if that's easier for you. It doesn't matter. You can heat it underneath or heat it on top. I've always heated mine on top. And once you get it going, you're going to see the powder start to melt. See how my letters are starting to change here? Once you get it at a certain angle, you can see the adventure. See how it's changing? I got to get my A. All right, there we go. All right, so that's done. All right. So that's done. Now we're going to do our shoes. Now watch, all it's going to do is melt and make these guys shiny. So see how he's turning? And you can go underneath if you choose to do so. Let me get in here so y'all can see. See how it's, all right, so I can do it easier this way. All right, so watch, see how the cup's turning? You can see it changing. And then that's changing. I'm going to get it all the way around the edges. Make sure it melts. So it's melting the clear embossing powder. And I'm just going to go back and I'm going to go underneath just to make sure. Okay, we'll do some down here. So these are going to be shiny. So see how shiny they are? Can you see that? So that's a way that you can stamp and do your colors and not worry about it. But we want to do our words, so we don't want those to smear. So we just do it that way. And I'm going to look at this and make sure. It looks like the toe of my sandal is not all the way done. So I'm going to move this around just a little bit. Because I want to make sure, because I can see the powder on the edges. So I just want to make sure it's all heated up and melted. And I think it is. All right, so there we go. All right, so now we need to cut our sentiment off, and then we're going to do some fussy cutting. Let me move all my inks. Let's get those out of the way. Bear with me 1 second. And then we're going to go ahead and bring this in, and I'm going to trim this off right about there. Hold that down here. Okay, so now our sentiment is going to be heat embossed as well as our shoes and everything. So we're going to leave that and hopefully cut that straight. All right, yep, well, sort of. All right, and I'm just going to trim this up a little bit. So we'll just come up this way and flip it around. Now that you'll see, you're going to have powder, a little bit of that powder that doesn't melt is, you know, you may get it on your hands, and which is fine, but you'll find a little dusty, like dusty stuff all over your workstation. Okay, so just be aware of that. You have to wipe it down. All right, so this guy is ready to be mounted, and let's go ahead and cut these out and see how shiny. Whoops, let me get in here. See how shiny they are? Can you see that? Isn't that cute? So that's an easy way of getting your items if you have something that you want to heat emboss. then that's an easy way of doing it. So I'm just going to cut those apart so we can go ahead and get these done, and then we'll finish up our card. So this is just, again, another way that you can, any of our kit collection, not only Paper Pumpkin. Paper Pumpkin obviously comes out every month. You do have the option to stop it and start it when you'd like. And then we have other kits, and we've really had some really nice kits come out recently. We've got the boho beach one, which is absolutely, if you love the beach and chairs and water and stuff, that's going to be right up your alley. Again, that's something else that you can do. You can take the contents and create your own cards, or you can follow the directions and make the 8 or so cards, or however many is in the kit. Make the way they want you to, or use your own creativity and create your own. So it makes it really nice. And if you are a demonstrator and you hold classes, this is a good way of having people learn how to use kits. It's easy. Everybody can come no matter their experience level, and they can put the kit together. And if they're more experienced, then you can give them extra supplies and have them, if they want to bump it up, you know, let them get their creativity going and do that. So that's a nice thing that you can offer. So get this cut out. I'll cut that off. Sometimes this stuff gets in my way and I don't like it when I'm trying to fussy cut. All right, so we're going to get this guy. And I just love the way that we can get this and get the shininess to it, which I think is awesome. Makes it a little bit easier. I'll kind of run that one. Okay, so there we go. Let's move our scraps out of the way. And see, I can feel my powder all over here. So I'll be shaking that off. Okay, so we're ready to put our card together. All right, so we have our piece here, just like the other one. We're going to add some dimensionals to the back of our sentiment. And we will add, we're going to tie our bow. We'll do that as well. And again, we're going to pop up our shoe and our mug and our compass. So again, this is just another way to show you how you can take your pumpkin kit or any other kit that you have and dissect it or dissect it and then put it back together a different way. Or you don't even have to dissect it because it's already dissected. All right, so again, we're going to lay this right here. I'm going to put it right kind of towards the center. Set him there. And then again, we're going to place our shoes and mug. Let's put them in. Let's put them a little bit different. Let's put the shoe this way. We'll do something a little different here. And let's put the compass. Well, let's see which would look better. Probably the mug would look better because yeah. Let's put the mug on this side, and then the circle can kind of be the center. So we'll put the mug here. See how it's shiny? And then we'll put our compass. We're going to put that right there because I'm going to cover that that head of the, I think it's the bison right there. So we're going to cover that down. All right. So there is that. And I think I had, no, I didn't do anything. All right. So there is our alternative cards. So there are, oops, I got to do the bow. Don't forget. All right. Hang on. Don't go nowhere because we got to finish up the bow. All right, so let's get this a little bit. I pulled my thumbnail on it to kind of get some of the round, you know, where it's rolled up, to get some of that off so it's not so curly, and then it doesn't make it quite that much. So that way it's not curling all over the place. All right, so we're going to cut that right there, and there's our bow, and we'll get one of our glue dots, and we're going to use the ones that they provided to us. And again, you can see they're a little bit different. They're a little bit, you know, by the time you take them off here, they're kind of small because they've been squished around, but that's okay. So we're going to put our little glue dot right there, and then we'll come in with our bow. And it really doesn't matter. Let's put him, our bow is going to go right in the center and squish him down. And there you go. There is our other alternative card. So we have these two of the alternatives. Well, that one, we'll put this one here. All right, so those are the two alternative ones. Now let me show you a couple of the other ones that I did. Okay, so let's move this out of the way. I'll try to get organized. All right, so I'm going to set those right there. All right, so now the other ones that I did, I took the one with the canoe, this one here, all right, that paper, and I created this one, and I used boho blue cardstock. We cut that off, and I did a piece of copper clay cardstock, and then added the banner that's in the kit, did my bow, and then this is one of the punch out pieces that they have in the kit, so I added that. And then on the inside, when I cut the canoe piece, the piece that I cut off, I placed right here on the inside of my card, okay? So there's that one. And then this one I did, this is the one with the, let's see, let me find him. This is the one, where'd you go, Bubba? Hang on a minute, I gotta find the card. All right. This is the one, where is the water one? We have a water one, I don't know where it went. But anyways, this is the, oh, probably because I cut it up. This is a water one. So I cut this up and put it on a piece of white and then on a piece of basic black. And then this is part of our, the end color, oh, let's see, what is it? Yeah, the end color paper. And then I'm using Lemon Lolly. Now this is from the retired Hats Off set because I was trying to find a good sentiment. And I popped that up on dimensionals. This is up on dimensionals as well. And then when I cut this part of this card, because I had to cut this card down pretty good size, then I put that on the inside as well. Okay, so there's another one that I think this is from using the, oh, this is using, you could have bought the extra cards and envelopes that coordinated with this set. And this is one of the card bases, and I cut that in half and then cut it down. So there's that one. And then the last one, I copied this from, oh gosh, I think her name was Libby, Libby something. I thought this is the cutest thing. We used the Crafting With You, and we did, like, she's an artist, so I tried to make some trees and put our kit there. Cut this piece down to 5 1/4 by 4, used it on copper clay cardstock, and then the piece that I cut off at the top was about 1 inch. And I put that right here at the top of the inside of my card. So there are some alternatives that you can see that we can do in addition to how the kit wants us to do the cards. Let me find my other one because oh, there it is, it's hiding. Okay, so let's see, we've got these two. All right, so these are the 3. I'll push those away. All right, these are the 3 that Stampin' Up! Wanted us to make. Let's move this back. Hang on a second. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so these are the 3 that the box was designed to make. Let me get those there. Can you see those? And then this one and this one, I'm going to just kind of tighten them up a little bit. These are alternatives. And then this one was more for a beginner. And then this is the same one, but just stepped up with the distressing. Oh, and the one thing I forgot to do on the distressing, and it's probably too late now because I've already put it together. On the distressing one, on the stepped up one, before I attached this and this, I should have taken my marker and done some splattering. And the way you do that is just take your large tip inside your lid and just really, kind of hard flick it, and then it flicks the little splatters. I should have done that and I forgot. I got so excited I forgot about it. So that's what you can do with any type of kit that you have. You can keep in mind that you can use it the way they wanted you to, or you can create cards using those components and making up your own, so you have a lot more cards to share. So I hope you've enjoyed this, and I should be back to see you next week. And thank you again, everyone, for watching. If you haven't liked and shared, please do so. If you haven't joined my VIP group on Facebook, please go there and request to join. And if you're on YouTube, make sure that you share and subscribe and hit the button so that you'll be notified when I update the videos. All right, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you next week. Thanks again for taking the time out of your schedule, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.